Hello, and welcome to Heated Discussions with Derek Bell. We are in the beautiful Sureglow Studios in Southwest Missouri, and we got a roaring stove going here this morning, and we kind of actually need it because it's getting cold out. I used to be able to see outside, but Tristan, our trusted videographer, has blocked off all the windows. He's very particular about lighting.
Right.
He's trying to make us look good. So
That's
I used to see outside, and you can see the leaves are dropping, and it's cold out. You can almost see your breath, but it's getting rainy and stuff. And we got a Pacific Energy Alderley freestanding wood stove. It's the Alderley Classic.
Magelica.
Right? Yeah, Magelica colored. Anything else you want to tell us about this, Derek? It's roaring, right? I like the flame going.
No, it's this is a super popular stove. It's a steel stove covered with cast iron, so heats up a little slower, distributes the heat really well. This is the classic, so you can get it in a lot of different colors. This thing here, if I can do it with one hand, opens up the top.
Oh, you're gonna mess
anyway,
it. No,
it swings out like wings, and you can cook on the top.
Right.
So that way you don't scar the surface. But yeah,
and everybody comes in here. We got a lot of different stoves in the showroom, but always people gravitate towards this one. But still, black with black doors and black legs is still the most popular.
Yeah,
so it's kind of cool. This is a novelty to have all the shiny, but it's not as rugged. Well, we're gonna get into stoves just a little bit later, but we are going to talk about homesteading today. And I got a good headline here. It says why millennials are giving up city life to start homesteading. So it's not just for our great grandparents who lived without smartphones and had a wild affair with plaid, which Derek is wearing today. Nope, homesteading is making a comeback, and this time it's brought some seriously cool vibes with it. This glorious resurgence of homesteading is so hot right now.
Yeah,
so hot there. But you were doing homesteading long before it was hot, trendy thing. So tell us your history. You come from Alabama in the deep South. I don't know if you started your homesteading career down there. So just how did you get into that? Where did you move, and what did your family have?
I wouldn't say we were like hardcore homesteading, because I know families that are homesteading like legit. But no, we, over the years, I think probably my wife and I, about halfway through our marriage, just some of the simple things, man, more for kind of novelty and enjoyment, like having chickens and getting your own eggs. And as you have kids, just the experiences you can have with that, going and gathering the eggs. It's just kind of a low tech.
Do they call that a hobby farm?
Yeah. We didn't really have a hobby farm. So we had chickens, we had gardens. We've moved a lot, but we'd have raised bed gardens. But we butchered our own chickens for years. We canned chicken, homemade chicken broth.
I've had some of your canned chicken wings before. Organic, free range chicken wings.
It's a lot of work.
Many of those as I could from you. Yeah.
It's a lot of work, but it's very rewarding. I think I saw something yesterday on Instagram about like how we get dopamine rush from smartphones and flipping, but like the things in nature give us the same thing, right? Like a bike ride, being in the outdoors, doing certain things. And I think too, to answer your question though, kind of to jump back, is I think the popularity is too because everything's cyclical, so it's like everything's so fast paced now. There's a whole generation of people that have never really enjoyed those type of things.
Well, coming back, apparently it's very hot right now. So tell the difference. You said something like, the difference between hobby homesteading, hobby farming, and hardcore, where people are really trying to be totally self-sufficient, where they're what?
Yes.
I have really good friends who have an off-grid homestead. Now it helps. He's a computer tech wizard who has an off-grid homestead. So all of the solar and the things that require you to get off the grid, he's extremely good at that. I would not have been good at that kind of thing. So something would break, and I wouldn't know what to do with that kind of technology. But so here, what is hardcore, homesteading for self-sufficiency versus the hobby farming? What can you really get into? How serious can you get with it?
Oh yeah, you can get serious. We have a lot of customers, and I know a lot of people personally that moved here. Nobody's from the Ozarks. It seems like everybody's moving here. Right. You're not from here. I'm not from here. A lot of our customers, they're moving in, and maybe the dad works from home, like you said. We've seen a lot of people, maybe there's a correlation there, like that are doing tech, that have a tech job, and they move in and they're like, let's get solar panels. That'd be cool. We could save money, make our house more efficient. And then we got the basement. We live in the Ozarks. Like, if we lose power, it'd be nice to have an alternate. Let's get a cook stove. Well, next thing you know, they got goats, chickens. They're, got a garden. They got drip irrigation, like all the things, right? A hand pump on the well. And one thing I will say with this is, when you see families like that, they're usually like, they seem to be happier. They're not necessarily in the rat race. They're spending a lot of time together as a family. They're producing more quality, healthy food for their family. I don't know if you've been to the grocery store lately, but things are expensive, right?
Yes. Yeah.
So I think it's good though. There's so many things that come from that. Hobby farm though, I would say was more, and I don't know if we were hobby, but just, we had chickens seasonally. We would butcher chickens, and, I'm a big hunter. So like, if I shot a deer, we would, I would butcher the meat ourselves and have a garden. We'd make jellies and jams. The kids love that, make homemade salsa and can it. And then the nice thing is too, you get to reap the rewards of that later. And then the kids see what it's like to follow through hard work, planting a seed. There's so many different, especially from a biblical perspective, there's so many different things, lessons that can be taught through that.
My history, my parents were in the suburbs. I was the youngest of the children. They were suburbanites. And the year they moved to a 117-acre farm, they bought it from a hunchback. I saw him in pictures. He was a real hunchback.
That's a good story.
They were just shacks and shanties on this 117-acre property. And that's the year I was born, unplanned. And I was a difficult child while they tried to figure out how to go. Yeah, I know. Imagine that. It's trying to go from some suburbanites over to farmers. It didn't go great. It didn't go well, but it did teach me work ethic. I mean, there was chores in the morning before school. There was chores at night. I mean, in Northeast Ohio, I'm talking about those winters are serious up there. So you're trudging out, uphill both ways and driving snow. So it did teach me. It did teach me how to work with the animals and the work ethic. And then I had my own 50-acre homestead recently. And you were right about the produce that you get, and I was teaching my kids, how to have chores and responsibilities and take care of animals. And my son and daughter are great at that. But I did know that one year, we harvested over 3,000 tomatoes. I was the bug keeper away guy, weeder guy, and harvester guy. And I was just kind of kept track of just like how many tomatoes we brought in. But you got to have a passion about it, because if your heart's not in it, boy, after, week 3, week 4 of the growing season or the whatever season, or shearing sheep, when the sheep want to kick your face off and you're trying to get the wool off of that. You got to love the animals. You got to love what you're doing, or you quickly go, this ain't for me. So did you ever get to those moments on your homesteads?
I would say, it's kind of like being an entrepreneur. Like, you've got to be in it to win it. You've got to have such a passion and be so single-mindedly focused. Otherwise, it can be a grind. It sounds like a great idea when it's still kind of cool out and you're building the grow beds and this and that. But then when the tomatoes start coming, like you said, and all the weird bugs and worms you've never
if you're trying to do it organically and not spray them hard,
never even seen them, you're having to kill them, and then you fought so hard.
Worms as big as this finger, So the chickens like to eat them. It was always rewarding to throw those worms to the chickens. But
it's fun. But to that, then once you collect the produce or the veggies or whatever it is, and you're going to canning in July and August when it's hot, and you're trying to do all that and dealing with Missouri flies. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, Missouri flies.
That's another podcast.
And horse flies. I would have to try to fight them off from my cows, keep my babies from getting bit. But since you're an expert in the wood stoves, you're owner of SureGlow Stove and Chimney. We're in the SureGlow studios right now, surrounded by wood stoves and inserts and all sorts of wood. It's awesome in here. But you and I just happen to have owned the same cook stove before. It's called the Hiko. Well, you tell us about it. So we both have owned it. You owned several, right?
Yes.
And I have had one as well. What tell us about it?
Yeah, so Hiko, they're produced in the Northeast, I think in Pennsylvania. Great company. They make just good, no-frill, high-quality stoves. They're very popular.
HECO.
Yep, HECO.
Up online.
They're very popular, especially in the Amish community. They're built like a tank.
Yeah, we can see one across the room from here right now.
Kind of like Pacific Energy, a different stove. Pacific Energy does not make a cook stove, but the Hiko 420 is what I had. We have the 520 here. There's a lot of different options. You can get it, and it's a cook stove, so it has a glass. You can get a glass oven door, a glass firebox door. You can see the fire.
We'll have Tristan do some B-roll where we're panning across one. He always puts clever things in there like that.
And we're gonna do some cooking on it. So I've got a really great
what are you gonna make?
Sourdough biscuits from Kent Rollins. Shout out to Kent Rollins. Really great, super easy. They're
So much for my
really
keto
good.
diet, but yeah,
Yeah.
I'll definitely be
Very
into that.
good. So we're gonna do some cooking reviews here coming up soon. But yeah, just a great
Well,
solid stove, and it
why
burns.
I could choose from lots of different cook stoves. That's we got, I don't know, affordability. It's beautiful. It's large. It's easy to get to everywhere. It also burns coal as well
Yes.
as wood. I mean, I don't even know if people know that there's dual stoves out there.
Yeah.
That can burn coal at the same time, or it's not even coal. Tell us about what it really burns, or does it both burn coal and
Yeah.
this other material?
So anthracite is coal, and I'm not an anthracite expert per se. Anthracite coal has a ton of benefits that outweigh using wood, believe it or not. It's not very popular here. It's very popular in the Northeast, but anthracite coal is very clean. So actually, a lot of municipalities buy this coal to use it in the purification process of wastewater and stuff like that. So the coal, when I say it's clean, like you can actually touch it, and it's not your granddaddy's coal, right? This is not like charcoal. But anyway, it burns way hotter than wood, has a higher BTU. It lasts forever. So in the Northeast, they buy it by the truckload, they dump it in the yard, just leave it. It can get rained on. It doesn't matter. Like
Yeah, I
it
have
lasts
bought a
forever.
ton of it for ours and just
Yeah.
put it in the furnace room in the far back,
Right.
and it comes in these white bags or
Yep.
whatever, and just for backup because it's never going to get ant
Yeah.
or termite ridden.
Right.
It just is sitting there just for an emergency in
Yeah.
case you ever needed it. So
Yeah.
that's what we did
Yeah.
with it.
In a lot of ways, it's kind of a tough sell, if you will, here because people aren't used to it. But I mean, truthfully, there's a lot of advantages over wood. Again, I mentioned higher BTU, it lasts forever. So essentially, you're getting more heat for less actual fuel. And you can't have a flue fire ever. Like coal burns very clean. Also, too, like a 40-pound bag, you can put a 40-pound bag in like in this 520, and it'll burn for 24 hours plus. Like literally, you put it, you don't have to prod it, you don't adjust the door, the air control, heat it up. It
Surprised
just
it
burns.
burns so clean when you're saying that, because I picture coal burning and having coal dust,
Yeah.
just like, I
Yeah.
don't know, something like
Yeah.
coming out of an old locomotive top, but no, it doesn't.
No,
it
this
doesn't.
is not like that. And then two, again, it's washed. So when you touch it, generally, like it's not dirty on your hands. So yeah, just a super popular option if maybe you want backup heat, but you don't have to cut firewood. You don't have to worry about a chainsaw. You don't have to sharpening, chains and all that
Or
jazz.
if you want the ambiance of the wood, you can always have a wood fire. That's what we did with it.
Yeah.
Can you get a wood fire roaring and all the families enjoying it, and then switch to coal overnight
Absolutely.
so you're
Yeah,
not loaded?
absolutely. Yeah, that's what a lot of people do. So a lot of people start the fire originally with wood. You can enjoy the ambiance of a fire, heat the house up, whatever, but it's time to go to bed, or maybe a cold front's moving in. It's going to be highs in the 20s for the next 5 days. You can load that thing up with coal, pour the anthracite on top of like a good bed of coals in there, get it rip roaring, and then damper it down, and then just leave it alone. It's just steady heat. It's really nice. It's really nice. And then too, you can buy it. Coal's still relatively inexpensive. You can buy it. I think the last house I had, I bought like 5 tons. So I had, 5 pallets of coal sitting there ready to go. And,
Okay, well, we'll get to a demo in the heat go soon and watch these
Yeah, we'll do that.
sourdough rolls come to life. But just one last thing, and we're always trying to touch on governmental regulations or whatever. I mean, this is heated discussions, and you and me are always have that top of mind. Like, what are they cracking down on? And I just kind of think it's interesting how often you hear about cows and cow farts and how that's ruining the environment, and
Right.
or the crackdown on wood stoves or wood burning.
Right.
I don't know if coal's included in that, but just why is the government? You would think that homesteading, I don't know, would be on the decline. That's not what these headlines are saying right here on my computer. It's on the rise. So now they seem to be cracking down on that which makes people independent. Why does that make you so heated, Derek Bell? Tell
Well, I
us.
mean, I think it's just part of the overall,
What?
the system. Well, the government wants more control. Just the same thing we keep talking about. It's not a secret. It's the same reason too. Gold and silver are soaring right now, right? People they don't have faith in fiat currency and the dollar.
Ooh, that's a subject. We'll do a separate
we
podcast
will.
on gold and silver.
And they're
That'd be good.
spending a ton of money, inflation, and then we just have runaway spending with our country. So yeah, I think it's just people like to have control of their lives, and when they can do that, and it's a win-win. When I can take more control of my life, and oh, by the way, I can eat healthier, and I can spend time with my family. And hey, it's a great backup thing, because if the power goes out, or what if there is COVID and we can't get out, hey, we jarred or got tons of canned food that we did together as a family. So there's so many benefits of it. But yeah, I think that the government doesn't like that. They want the 15-minute cities. They want to regulate this to death.
They don't want homeschooling the children. That could be a separate. Okay, so we got gold and silver phone. We'll do homeschooling children, because
and all of these things
they just don't want that.
They're all intertwined. If you meet any family that burns a lot of wood, or coal, that has a cook stove, the overwhelming majority of those people are homeschoolers. They are, conservative people. They understand how our monetary system works and the pitfalls of it. They're probably proponents of real money, gold and silver, et cetera. It's one big umbrella. And I think there is kind of an awakening right now. People are waking up. The things that we've been told our whole lives, people are realizing now with social media,
I mean, it doesn't necessarily have to be for conservative. I mean, I'm sure that homesteading is popular across the board. I mean, this headline is saying, are more millennials homesteading? And it's just saying wellness, seeking control over the quality of the food they consume and the environment they live in. So that's conservative, liberal, it doesn't really matter. Homesteading allows them to grow organic produce, raise animals ethically, and avoid processed foods laden with chemicals.
Yeah, gives you the freedom for that. People want to know where their stuff's coming from. It's the same with, renewable resources. They want to know how the animals were ethically treated, or feedlots versus free range, all that kind of stuff. So, another great topic.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's true. That's good. Yeah. Food quality, additives, chemicals.
Nobody wants to eat, printed fake chicken meat, I don't think.
And I hope we haven't been doing that for longer than we know. It just seems like sometimes when I look at all the tuna fish in the stores and all the chicken and everything, do we really have enough to have that as many places as it is? Maybe we've been eating tank meat or lab meat for longer than we would like. If people say, hey, if you're seeing that technology already in process, you've probably been eating it for longer than you realize. I hope not. Okay, well, that's not a good note to leave us on. What's a good note to leave us on today? So homesteading, give us a sum up. Like you and I have done it. I'm going to go back to it. You have done it several times and are kind of already looking at a property where. So what is driving you back?
Yeah, I would say quick synopsis is like anybody can start down that journey. It doesn't matter if you live in an apartment and you want to. I mean, you can grow your own herbs. You
can get chickens in the mail. You go to the post office sometimes around here, and I'm like going to give them a letter or do something, and I can hear all these chicks.
Chirping.
Over the post office counter back there, coming in boxes. Poor things. I wouldn't want to be them for that journey. But you just order chickens through the mail, and they just come to you, and you just stick them out there, and they start eating bugs.
Absolutely.
And give them a little feed or whatever.
So you can just slowly. You can gain your energy independence. You can gain back. Some control of your life, and people see that and they want to do that, especially with things kind of spiraling out of control. It's peace of mind to do that. So whether it's chickens or growing herbs on your deck, or hey, I want a wood stove, make sure I can keep my family warm if the power goes out, or hey, I want to put a cook stove, or I'm going to start a garden or whatever. So I think it's our great grandparents did it. It's how they survived the Great Depression. That was not a novelty cool thing to do.
Everyone did.
Everybody did it.
Everybody had a family cow.
Exactly. That's how they survived.
Derek, you mentioned how wood stoves are an insurance policy you can actually enjoy. Expand on that.
Yeah. So with a typical insurance policy, right, you're paying for something every month that you're probably not going to need, and God forbid, hopefully you don't need it, in a worst case scenario. But with a stove, you actually get the benefits of having a beautiful, something you can actually use, your family can gather around, you can stay warm. And then in a worst case scenario, you have something that you can cook on, you can boil water that can keep your family, warm and safe.
All right. So Derek, tell us, why is it so important for people to have an annual sweep and inspection of their fireplace, their chimney, their flue system? Why is it so critical?
Yeah, Darren, that's a great point. So we go off NFPA 211 standards that says you should have your fireplace or stove inspected yearly. So much can happen in a year, right? A tree limb can hit the top. You probably don't spend a lot of time on your roof. You might not know that that's happened.
Right.
A squirrel made a home in there. Maybe you've got a lot of creosote buildup. So a lot can happen in a short amount of time. And with that annual sweep and inspection, we run the camera. We can see exactly what's going on. You can have peace of mind to know that everything's in great shape.
Awesome. So Derek, tell us more about this showroom that we're sitting in right now.
Yeah, so we are open for business. We have a huge selection of wood stoves, cook stoves, gas, a little bit of everything, pellet. yeah, this is a great opportunity to come in and get something. You can save a lot of money on your heating bill by having an alternate source of heat. We're the largest Pacific Energy dealer this side of the Mississippi, and we have a ton of stoves too that actually qualify for a tax credit. So looking forward to seeing everybody come in.
So I think we'll wrap that up for today. Thank you, Derek, for joining us this morning. That'll wrap it up for today.
Have a great day.
Yep.
Hey, Derek here. Thank you for watching the Heated Discussions podcast. Stay up to date with what's going on by hitting the subscribe button. And, too, if you have anything you want to hear us talk about, just drop us a line or DM, and we really appreciate you guys watching. Thanks, and have a great day.